It is 7 o'clock. I will call the meeting to order. Before the adoption of the agenda, we don't usually make changes to the agenda, but if you all agree, the motion 11.1 motion to accept the snow removal contract, if you agree, we are missing information, so maybe we can take this out of the agenda and add it to the next meeting. And also the session in camera, there are a couple of items that we can add. I would like to add the hiring committee and Connie and contracts. So if you all agree with that, we need a motion to adopt the agenda. Moved by Lester, seconded by Danny. All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Contrary, no. Motion carried. Are there any declarations of conflict of interest? If not, we will go on to two presentations. Presentation to Mr. André Velotaire. For those who don't know, Mr. André Velotaire is retiring from his position as coordinator of EMO. The council knows, but maybe the member of the public don't know. He has been in service for 11 years to the municipalities in preparing plans and working with different organizations like fire and police, and it is certainly a big job with not much remuneration and maybe not even any thanks after a while, but the council would like to thank you for your work. It is also important to note that the work that you do apart from your role as EMO coordinator, the work that you did with the Wharfrat Rally and with Larry in tourism and the church in Church Point, you are certainly devoted to the community, and we don't want to lose you. We will lose you at EMO, but I hope you continue to do the work you are doing. And on behalf of the council, I would like to present to you a certificate of recognition. It says the Municipality of District of Clare, Certificate of Recognition. The Municipal Council of Clare expresses its recognition to André Velotaire for his 11 years of services as EMO coordinator. So if you want to come forward, we will take a picture. Thank you. There's also a small card that goes with it. Thank you. Again, thank you on behalf of the council and all the residents of the municipality of Clare for your work. Then we will go on to item 4, the adoption of the minutes from the meetings. 4.1, September 23rd, the regular council meeting. Are there any errors or omissions? I move that we accept the minutes. Moved by Neil, seconded by Roussel. All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Contrary, motion carried. 4.2, the meeting of October 7th, the camera in committee meeting. Are there any errors or omissions? Moved by Danny, seconded by Lester. All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Against, motion carried. Business arising from the preceding meeting. 5.1, the Blue Dot community. We had a presentation at the committee in council and committee meeting, and the members did not have a chance to look at it, but there was a desire to go ahead with this in one way or another. I don't know if you want to push this to the next meeting of council and committee for a discussion. I just wanted to add that Antigonish and Halifax have made a declaration to support Blue Dot also. I think that it is not a question of adopting or not. It's to decide what the motion should read. And we should have a discussion to see how we do that. So I think it's important that the motion or the adoption that we will do is something that we can all have an impact on it and have a motion. Once the motion is made, we can change it. So if you agree to push that at the next meeting of the committee and council meeting. 5.2, the heating system for the Legion. I just want to report that we had a tender for two works to do. It was for repairs, and the second was for the new heating system. And we did get bids on the repairs, but we did not have any bids for the heating. And now our building inspector went to get some invitational tenders. He approached 3 different companies to see if we could get quotes on that, and he told me that they should be in on Friday, and they're not in yet. So I will bring this to the next meeting. Any questions? If not, we will go on to the Warden's Activity Report. For September 29th, there was a meeting of the Rent Committee. That was followed by the annual meeting that took place on October the 7th. I participated at a consultation session with the UNSM on the revision of the Municipal Government Act. And what will happen, they had sessions across the province, and there will be suggestions to UNSM, and they will look at the act itself and make some revisions. Instead of sending the act in one piece to the council, what they want to do is to divide the act into sections, and they are asking each municipal council in the province, at each member of the council, there will be an item to discuss the municipal act, and each council would do one section at a time, and then they expect the council to send something in writing to bring suggestions. So I think it is a good way to approach this, because otherwise you would look at everything on the act itself. It is difficult when you start a big work like this to look at the whole thing and then try to understand it. So I think it will start in January, but maybe February. Every month we will have a section of the act to look at. Are there any questions? I'm continuing my report. On October 12th, I participated at the Acadian Society of Clare meeting, and on the 20th, it was the breakfast by the Economic Development, the Acadian Economic Development. We had entrepreneurs and students together, and Pam was there as a person to meet the students. That is my report. Are there any questions?
Presentation, official statements from council members. Are there any this evening? I think maybe we just had an election, and I think we have a new member of parliament. I think it would be a good idea to send him a congratulatory letter and tell him we're ready to work with him. If you agree with this, I think we should send also a letter of thank you to Greg Kerr. So you all agree to send those 2 letters of congratulations. Are there any other official presentations? So we go to correspondence. There's a letter from Nancy Leblanc. questions or comments on this letter? Have we answered this letter yet? I think it would be important to write to her and explain to her how grants work, because most of grants are not for capital, and we think that the last 2 years we have helped them with capital projects. I think we went even a bit far. We tried to find a way to do capital projects by bending a bit of the laws. I think the council recognizes the good work that this society is doing. As councillor, we'd like to be able to give more money to a lot of organizations. You agree with this? Then Digby Port Days. If there's no comments on this, we go to number 9, Chief Administrative Officer's report. I think that the work that's going on is on the sewer system in Metegan Sewer Extension, and I can report that the main line that has a gravity line that goes almost to Placid Como Road from the Metegan River Bridge is completed, and the force main line that goes from the bridge to Efterio has been installed. All the service lines have been installed. They're all stopped off at the property line, and the pipes to cross the bridge have arrived, but the brackets are not in here yet, so they're waiting for the brackets to arrive. The pumping station is also not arrived. We knew from the start that would be a real delay for this part of the system, and also they think this might happen in December, so as soon as it arrives it will be installed. The work has been going on very smoothly, and now they are waiting for the other items to arrive. They're working on the lawns and on the shoulders to fix everything, so there will only be just a small gap between what they finished this type of work and waiting for the pumping station to arrive, and I think it will be finished in December. Otherwise, there are letters that have been sent to all residents to explain to them how much it will cost. We explained to residents that it is not ready and they cannot connect, that they'll have to wait till the system is finished. There would have to be pressure testing to be done, then they can connect, but it is seen that because it will happen later, most of the residents will not connect until next year's. So the deadline has been set as December 31st, 2016 for a reduction, and so they have a whole year to connect for this price. So the letters were sent to explain this and other details. Otherwise, we're working on new policies for sales and council meetings, and also work is done on animal bylaw and also fire prevention. The tender for the Legion, I already mentioned that there were two bids. That one that was received for renovations and no bids for the heating part. And kind of staff-wise, it's a pleasure for us to say welcome Rian Titus, who started her job as active living coordinator, replacing Odette Como, who retired on September 30th, and we'd like to thank Odette for all the work that she did. She did really good work, and we're very glad that we had her for the time that we did. Are there any questions for the sewer system? If it does a resident needs a pump, is the municipality that covers the expenses, and then it is the responsibility of the resident to pay the electricity that runs this pump. The ongoing maintenance will also be covered by the resident, but the pumps doesn't need much. It's just the installation that costs more, and it's understood in the contract. Are there any other questions? And now we go to committee reports. 10.1. Other questions? 10.2, community development with Pam Dousa.
C'est moi. While waiting, it's coming. The technology. Good evening, everyone. I am here to talk to you a bit this evening. We will make a presentation of the Department of Economic Development or Community Development. I want to talk about the new department, how it is coming, and also to speak about our big event that we just finished. I'm sure that everybody who is listening or who will have seen the meeting will have heard about the Grand Fondo. So if I can find a spot for the USB. The first thing I wanted to mention, and we wanted to report to the council, that the Community Development Department has been in place since April with the amalgamation of services of recreation, tourism, economic development, and also development in general with the building inspection. So what we are trying to do is to work more together with for community development. And if the presentation wants to come on the screen, I can give you more details. What we will do tonight, we will share the job for the presentation, but I will bring an overview of the Grand Fondo. Larry and Andrea will speak also, and we will find this. Maybe we should invest in technology that works a bit faster.
Back.
I don't know how fast this is going, so I guess I will talk. We have documents who are prepared. I will go get the documents and ask Andrea and Larry to come forward. The computer does not want to recognize the USB, and usually we are good, but what we started doing is to have to do a bit of marketing of the new department. We tried to promote, to make the people use the terminology of the community development. It takes time to do this. The newsletter that came out in recreation, that came out about a month ago in mid-September, we had a blurb in there to explain the amalgamation or the changes that took place. We had a bit of feedback on that. The people are starting to get used to it. And we explain also that the process is to bring together the organization and to collaborate, so that's the objective. But what we did a bit of branding. We are trying to send a uniform message. We have team meetings regularly to better collaborate and to improve communication, to have a higher collaboration and activities and initiatives that touch tourism, recreation, and economic development. The first initiative of our department was the Grand Fondo. So we want to present to you the results of the Grand Fondo. It was the first project we had in common with the objective of having a tourism, recreation, physical activity event with an economic impact. It joined all the aspects of our department with the goal of having a cycling event, the first Grand Fondo in Nova Scotia. We had an objective of about 100 to 150 people, but we received 452 registrants. There were 412 participants on the site. It's a bit different from the registration because people did not show up, but we had 412 people on the site in Sonyville on September 27th, and I think it was 2 degrees early in the morning. We had to scrape the windows that morning, so the people on bicycles were not very warm. But it was a partnership. Our team with Larry, Andrea, and myself, and Tanya German, who is the receptionist, was on our team also. We had to get other people from the community. It was a community event with partnerships, and there we had the partners in economic development, the Acadian Economic Development. Nathalie Robichaud was on our committee with an agreement that was signed between the council and the Acadian Council. Each member of the committee had a specific role. We had coordinators who were there for the registration, hospitality, security, volunteer, marketing, finances, and Tanya was there as a secretary. So what we would like to do this evening is to give you an overview of our responsibilities in the committee and to give you the results. Michel Haché was our coordinator of the event and the races. The hospitality was Nathalie, and at the registration we had participants and their needs, and the security of the routes and of the participants, of the volunteers, and of the rules. And this evening Andrea will present an overview of the volunteers. So the three areas we will point on is the finances, volunteers, and marketing. These are the three things we want to focus on this evening to give you the results. On finances, the numbers are small here, but the budget is finalized, more or less. We had an estimated revenues from certain sources for about $50,000. But what we succeeded in doing with the municipal council, who gave us the first contribution of $15,000, it was the first funds to get us going. From the province, we anticipated 15,000, but we got 10. So we had 5,000 from the health and wellness. The Acadian Affairs gave us $5,000 also. What was surprising for us, and we recognize, is the EDI program for official languages with ACOA. They gave us $35,000, and it was focusing on the marketing, and we are happy with that contribution. For sponsorship, we picked up $3,400 from the community, and without any effort, actually. This year we had a lot of help from the government, so we did not make any efforts for funds from the community, but it was business people who approached us and offered to help us and be part of this. So the registrations, we wanted $11,000 in revenue, and we got $33,000, and the registrations later were more expensive. It was a recommendation that came from the council to have a deep discount if it was earlier, and we have a total revenue of $87,000. It is a big budget for such an event from our municipality that was just planned this year.
The next page is we go for the expenses. We had many categories, and all of them, they're categorized in the related to the province. The ECOWA, its equipment went into marketing because they were branded, and the numbers are there, so you can have a look at those. In the bottom line, that we have an amount left over to start next year for our new event next year. That was our objective, to have about $3,000 to $3,500 left over to start next year. And because the event was so big, and it will probably get even bigger in 2016, we have a little pot to start the activities for 2016, because the idea is that the activity will be self-sufficient. We'll look more sponsors next year because we probably won't have as much money from government. So now let's Andrea talk to you a bit about the volunteers. Good evening. I will go now to English.
because of that evening, I felt that I was doing very good
No.
work.
More signs to indicate different routes. So we'll ask Larry to give you a bit of a summary of the marketing aspect. Good evening, everybody.
So that is our presentation. Uh, these are the results of the Grand Fondo. In the future, we have given you some written reports of our activities, our individual activities. We will change the format for the future, but this time we wanted to make sure that you have an oversight of the results of the Grand Fondo and of the good things that we could share with you this evening. Do you have any questions? Thank you. Not a question, just a few comments. I had the chance to participate like many other cyclists, Councillor Thibault and myself. We participated as volunteers. It was really fun. Everybody spent a good day. We all had radios, a good system of radio. We worried at the beginning because everybody was on the same channel, and that could have brought some confusion, but it was so well organized that there was very little dialogue on the radios, so it was a really good organization. I think that the evening you had with the volunteers was really valuable because everybody knew what the rest were doing. So you didn't have to worry about nothing that is not your responsibility. There were other people to do it, and it worked very well. But for the mechanics, there was one bicycle that broke down and somebody helped to repair it. The course is so large that we need, I don't know if it's a good idea, but to make this a continued success, I cannot recommend to do anything different. If we continue to do the things as good as we did this year, the Fondo will grow by itself, as it did the canoe trips and other activities. The people of the area were having fun, and a lot of them were their first weekend here, and they appreciated that very much. We can do this as a Canadian, Atlantic, or international event or maritime event. 500 people is really well to bring all these people here for one day. I had one question. Some people asked me to find some lodging. There were no concerns there. Will there be next year? What we found is the lodging in the area, in the immediate area, were full, and evidently some people went to Yarmouth and Digby, and the people in the surrounding community, a lot of people came and stayed with friends. I don't know if Larry wants to elaborate on that for the accommodations, but we know that next year we have spaces that are already booked. The people have decided to come. They know that we have a limited number of rooms, and some people have reserved for 2 weeks. 2 days was not enough. So we are conscious that we don't have a lot of rooms in the area, but the focus is to fill them up first and then share the information of our partners with the surrounding municipalities to fill the beds there. Thank you, and congratulations for the success. Anybody else? I just wanted to congratulate you. It was really well done. Everybody appreciated. I was there one evening for the volunteers, and everybody was talking good about it. And as Robert said, I don't know if you should change much. It appears to have gone well. I spoke with somebody from PEI. I don't know if you have it on the list or not. Prince Edward Island. They came from all over. There was a group from PEI, yes. They found the experience with Raw Pier and everything interesting. It was good. Hector, I also want to congratulate you. One of the volunteers, what struck me is that the people could not believe that the people were getting outside of their houses to welcome them. That was good. We need to thank the people of Clare also. I know that in Metegan they were seated by the sidewalk with little flags and when the bikes came by, they waved and spoke. When we made the thank you notice in the municipal bulletin, I put a personal message as president of the organizing committee to the people of Clare for their unbelievable support to the participants of the Grand Fondo. I just wanted to say that I had a call just yesterday from people of Halifax, two people who came for the Grand Fondo, and they called me to tell me that they wanted to confirm that they have 45 people confirmed in their group that is coming next year. So if that is an indication, it will be a big group. If Larry would speak about lodging, did you consider to ask the people to participate in the Airbnb for that week? Some people could accommodate the guests and have people in their homes to increase the participation. Certainly, yes, we will expand our lodging plan, especially the participants who prefer to live close to the event. So I think that there is a lot of potential with ideas like that. But at the same time, this time, for our first event, there were people who stayed in Annapolis, for example. And of course, there were some people who live in Barrington or Argyle, and they come just for the day. So there is a big catchment area for lodging, and hopefully in 4 or 5 years we will expand for the event that will fill all the lodgings from, or at least a large number of lodging in Digby and Yarmouth. And also, if we look in the future and it continues to grow, and there are other events that grow in the area, it would be a reason to have more lodging also. There could be a business case there also. So, Danny? Shut off my mic. I think we need to put somebody in charge of the mics. I wanted to say you did an unbelievable job. I even asked some people and tell me one thing how to improve it, and they could not. So you have done a good job. So I was pushing for some small things, but they appear to say that all the bases were covered. So thank you. It's nice to hear that, but one final comment to close. As an organizing committee, we met this morning and we continue to meet since the event, and one of the things we are looking at is what we can improve. There's one thing that the events and the participants have seen, but we want to improve. So it is fun to hear that, but we know that there are a lot of things that we want to change. Not big things, but we are always looking at how we can offer a better product to the participants and volunteers. Thank you for your presentation. Next, we
go 10.5 waste check. Yes, I went to the waste check meeting, and one of the big items on the agenda was called EPR, Extended Producer Responsibility, and it is a strategy that is destined to displace the price that which is to say that when there is money expenses for recycling, it will go to all to all the taxpayers, but they're looking at a program that would have two options. One would be that 100% the responsibility of the producers, that these would pay to transport the recycling matter, and the second option would be that it would be split 50-50 between the producer and the municipality. So there is a workshop that will be held at Truro on Friday. The province will be there. They will discuss both options. I listened to the presentation at WasteCheck, but there were a lot of more questions than answers about the logistics of how this would be carried out. Will it displace certain jobs in the area? What does it mean? So the workshop is held Friday in Truro, and the warden and I will be there to listen to the presentations from the province, and we'll have more details at the next meeting. However, it is certain that there will be changes brought to the way it's done now. Are there any questions? If not, after the session of Friday, we'll have more information. Police Advisory Committee, this committee met on the 28th of September. There was Sergeant Holmes and also the new Corporal Jamie, I don't know his second name. They spoke to us. We talked about the public meeting we had. It was a good meeting when there was a lot of thefts in the area. There were near 500 people there. It was a good meeting. They spoke about that they had caught one person in Annapolis and a few from Yarmouth. They were 15 or 16 years old. They're still looking for other people because there are still people stealing. They also said they had done 50 checkpoints since April in Clare, and also they spoke about Hélène Cabot, who is working for the senior security. She's very busy and does a lot of good work. There's a member of the RCMP, I think it's Alex, who is working with Université Saint-Anne to work with students on campus, and this is also working well. So those are the big things. They couldn't tell us everything that's going in Clare, but these are the big items. Are there any questions for Neil? I was asked by people, teachers at the high school, I think there were 3 of them, if we could ask the RCMP to go to the high school more often than they do. I would think there would be no problem with that. I think there's already 1 or 2 that go there, but I think they're going less often according to these teachers. They don't find that their presence is as it should be. I can bring that up at our next meeting. Conseiller Nil, you said there were young people from Yarmouth who were caught stealing in our community. Yes, car stealing, and they had stole quite a few cars, but they were young people from Yarmouth. I would like, if possible, to ask the RCMP to send all of councillors to send us factual what's happening, and I know there's a lot of rumors traveling, so if they could give us information that at least we'll know facts from rumors, and we'd be able to answer to public questions more easily, because rumors circulate very rapidly, and people are fearful. Will you bring that to the committee, Neil? He also said in conclusion that the area of Clare is still a good place and a secure place to live. But I think Robert brings a good point, because there are a lot of rumors, but if something happens, they do give out press releases, but they should send them to us or to our office here. You said they used to come and give us reports. Maybe they could still come here and give us reports. If we only get reports after they met the committee, that's why we don't hear anything. Maybe they could come and give us a report. I think the idea is they want each committee has an advisory committee, because it's easier for them to have a discussion in these committees rather than council as a whole. But I think they should come once a year. I think they will still be doing this. It's hard for them to come. Maybe 2 times a year would be okay, but I think it's easier to have a better communication through a committee. Neil, you can bring those points to the next committee meeting. Is there any other questions for Neil? The next meeting will be in January. So we go to 11.2, motion to award Legion renovation tenders. We had one submission. The tender came, it was a bit more expensive than what was budgeted by about $5,000, but saying this, there was a contingency that was put in it that would cover this amount, that would give us a bit more money. The contingency would be for renovations, because furnaces and other things that will be bought will be items, so the contingency will cover the renovation, so it would fall under the budgeted amount for this. Is there anybody who wants to make a motion? Then we have I approve that the Council of Clare accept the threshold to the amount of 71,667 presented by Shepcon Construction on September 25, 2015 for the renovation of the Sunnyvale Legion. Are there any discussion on this motion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying yes. Against, motion carried. 11.3, motion to appoint the auditors. This is just something we do. It's a formality to appoint the auditors, and there's a motion that was prepared for this. Seconded by Roussel. Is there any discussion on this motion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying yes. Against, motion carried. 11.4, amendment to the bylaw for fire prevention bylaw. Connie, this, we presently have a bylaw for fire prevention. The Department of Fire asks us to remove one section of the bylaw because it does not apply anymore. That section is just one paragraph. It's just saying that you have to have a permit but now the Department of Natural Resources says it's not a requirement, so we can remove that item from the bylaw. So that's the change that is proposed in the bylaw. We need a motion for this. How to change the bylaw, there's a process to follow. There's a first reading that has to be done, and then it will come back for a second reading, and then it will be applied for. Tonight we need a motion for the first reading. Hector. We propose that the municipality of the District of Clare Amendment number 3101-215, the bylaw respecting fire prevention, and that the bylaw be read for the first time by title only. And we need he has to read the title. The title, bylaw number 31, amendment number 3101-2015, a bylaw respecting fire prevention. Is there any discussion on this motion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying yes. Against, motion carried. 11.5. Motion to set fees for connection to the Metegan sewer expenses. This is the cost that were put in place and accepted. They were discussed by council. The cost to connect the sewer system, and all the residents who are on this new sewer line who want to connect have been given these prices, this correspondence that were sent to them. So all we need now is a motion to make this complete. We have already had this discussion on prices before, but there were no motion to make it official. It was just a negotiation done by council. So is there anybody who wants to make the motion? Brian. I propose that the municipality of Clare set the fees for connecting to the new Metegan sanitary sewers extension system as follows. Residential, if you hook before 31st December 31st 2016, $3,000 lump sum, or $303.84 per year for 15 years, and there will be a fee of $200 per year. Residential, if you hook before the 31st of December 2016, $4,000 or $405 per year for 15 years, and there will also be $200 a year for current rate, or a current rate that will be determined. For commercial, if you hook before December 31st 2016, the cost will be $5,000 lump sum, or $506.28 per year for 15 years. There will be $200 per unit per year. Commercial, if you hook up after the 31st of December 2016, there will be a lump sum of $6,000 or $607.56 per year for 15 years, and $200 per unit per year, or current rate. It is seconded by Roussel. Is there any discussion on this motion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Against, motion carried. 11.6, question for the minister at the UNSM conference. That is more or less every year there is a minister's panel, and in the past some people would ask questions and everybody got in line to ask their questions. Now they are trying to control it a bit. What are the questions? Is it appropriate? Does it have to do with municipal affairs or federal? But in the past it went all over the place. But now they are asking each municipality if they want to submit questions that we can, and it is on the agenda are there any questions we want to submit? I'm sure that there will be many asked. I think that as a council in the past, if we had concerns or issues or projects, we had tendency to meet the minister or the department rather than going to the public. And I think if there is something that the council wants to do, that is good. If not, if you all agree, I'm sure that there are a lot that will have questions. But is it? I missed that. Somebody. We will go on to item 12, the in-camera session. But before we make the motion, I will make the motion. We need a motion to go in camera. Seconded. Before we go to the question, I want to say that we have two items in camera: the hiring committee and a contract to discuss in camera. So I want to wish everyone a good evening. Are you ready for the vote? All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Contrary, no. Motion carried.